The first house here deals with your, it's traditionally considered the rising sign, the face that you project out into the world and the energy that you bring on to this month with you and the way that other people perceive you. Okay. So the Five of Wands is, first of all, a card about somebody who is, this is a conflict card, but when it shows up in the reverse, it's basically very conflict avoidant, which can be good or bad, depending on how, you operate with this energy. And so, first of all, conflict avoidant. The second thing that shows up with this card is, I feel like a lot of you might have been going back and forth with some major decision. So it's like an inner conflict that has been brewing for the past few months. And finally, coming into January, you have either decided on something or the conflict has alleviated, has left your life for good. Okay. So I feel like you're in a very genial type of mood. You're not looking for conflict. You're not looking for fights. And you are somebody that is quite diplomatic, and other people see you as somebody who is handling responsibilities. They're no longer struggling with between their mind and their heart. So somebody who's actually quite balanced. Okay. So that's the first thing moving into this month. The second house deals with your values and your money. And we have here the moon showing up in the reverse position. So the moon is actually your ruling card. And basically, you are the sign that is heavily influenced by the moon. And with the moon, it indicates emotions, like things that are under the radar, things that are very like cloaked in the darkness of the night. So as it relates to your income and your money, there might be some clandestine, underhanded type of dealings that you need to be aware of. And if you are engaging in these type of clandestine operations in order to make money, that is also showing up as well. And as well as people working heavily during the night shift in order to make money. So in the mundane sense, it can be just working the night shifts, transitioning into work that requires staying up very late at night to make money, or, doing something like kind of covertly in order to make money. As it relates to your value system, because this card is in the reverse position, you want to be very, very careful. Okay. First of all, I see conflict avoidant. And then second thing, I see you showing up in the reverse position. And this is also the card of Pisces. But the point being here is that you really need to stick to your guns. If somebody is doing something that you feel like is morally questionable, you need to call them out on it. And I feel like you might not do that this month. Okay, for whatever reason, there might be work constraints. It might be something that is authorized by somebody who should know better, or you believe like, oh, if it's authorized by the person in a position of authority, then obviously it's okay. But if it doesn't really, pass that moral judgment test, you might need to bring certain things into question. Okay. So like bring it up to a supervisor's attention, for example. So I do feel some unquestionable things happening in the money income department, and it might affect your work. So just be careful about that. Okay. Others of you, in terms of how you make money, you might be linked up here with a Pisces person, so male or female. And this is somebody that might be coming through with income generating activities. Pisces is also, the energy is heavy for creativity as well. And I do see art, music, creativity. So some creative projects that are coming through. You might have a business partner that is also linked up with this house. Okay. So a business partner, somebody bringing a lot of ideas. Some of them might not be realistic, but I do feel it's important for you to be discerning and to pick and choose how you make money and where your values are as well. Okay. So it's a mixed bag, but I do feel it's important for you to really stand up for the things that you believe in your value system. All right. So if something doesn't pass that, moral judgment test, then bring it up to somebody else's attention. All right. Third house deals with siblings and your communication. We have here the King of Cups in the reverse. So this is if you have siblings, you know, step siblings, if you're in a blended family, even adopted siblings, whoever it is that you consider siblings, okay? This is going to be a sibling of yours, possibly an older brother or an older sister. So another Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. This is somebody who is a little bit irresponsible. And I feel like they are, I feel almost like, they can be younger than you two, but the energy is somebody who's very fixed in their opinion. And they might be operating from a place of, you know, lack of sympathy, lack of empathy for other people. And I feel like they have the potential to be very loving, very nurturing at their best, but at their worst, they can be a little bit controlling, a little bit manipulative. And I feel that you're going to hear a lot of information, news coming through for this month from this person or related to the activities that this person is engaged in. And all of it is like cause for concern. And what I'm also feeling with this card here is it's somebody that needs a lot of attention. They need some caring, some nurturing. Okay. So I feel like this is somebody that you're dealing with as a sibling as well. If you are without a sibling, so if you are, for example, the only child, as it relates to your communication, and even for those of you with siblings overall, as it relates to your communication for this month, be very, very honest, be very straightforward, and be very, very truthful. This card indicates manipulation when it shows up in the reverse. So it's sort of like distorting the truth, manipulating the truth, hiding facts. And it's not like outright lies. It's very covert, very subtle, hard to catch in the act. And so I feel like many of you might be inclined to distort the truth, or might be inclined to, you know, not reveal all the information. So like lying by omission. So I feel this is coming through from your communication overall. So be careful about this. Okay. A lot of you might be in a position where you want to persuade an audience, and so you have to spin a story a specific way. So I feel that energy coming through, or you might be forced to do that in some way as it relates to your communication, but aim to be as truthful and as honest and as sincere as possible, because now your fourth house deals with the family and the early childhood environment that you grew up in. So it could be the family that you grew up in or the family that you're hoping to create for yourself. And as well, it deals with the mother. Okay. So I feel like a lot of you, the Four of Wands, first of all, this is a card about marriage. This is a card about a stable home if it's in the upright position. When it's in the reverse position, it basically means either a broken home or some type of a dysfunction, deep-rooted dysfunction within the home. The home environment was not harmonious. And it's surrounded by both of these cards, which indicates to me an air of suspicion, an air of like suppress passion, suppress rage, suppress like even hostility, something like that happening in the home environment. Okay. And what I'm also feeling as well in the home that you're hoping to create for yourself, I do feel some instability. There might be like a rent increase. There might be people moving in, people moving out in your home. So you might be subletting your apartment, for example, or you might be renting out your house, your physical environment, and letting new people come in. So there's some shifts, some changes in the home environment, and it's a little bit unstable. It's a little bit unsettling. And then for others of you, I feel like there's just overall movement in housing. Okay. So that's what's coming through for the fourth house. The Four of Wands, I feel like, you know, it's usually a divorce, like usually a divorce, like somebody moving in, somebody moving out of a home. So I feel a lot of you might be contending with that, for example. And I feel that, you know, there's people moving in, moving out. So I feel like in the mundane sense, it could just be, you know, change in roommates, change in living, housing environment. Okay. Okay, so your fifth house deals with recreation, fun, and creativity. And in some instances, it can also indicate children as well. For the sake of this reading, I'm just going to simplify it and just focus on, you know, creativity. So we do have here the Hangman in the reverse position. And the Hangman in the reverse position is a card about sacrifice, and it's also a card about like being tied up, you know, like literally being tied up. So I feel like a lot of you are have been very busy for the past 5 months, and you are going to be busy. So I do see this, you know, hitting the ground running, working overtime, working night shifts even. And if you're working night shifts, then, you know, if your friends and other people that you're dealing with are not are sleeping at night, then there's opportunities. Those opportunities for going out is going to be limited. And I feel overall being tied up at work so that you're not able to have the leisure time to devote to recreational activities, going to the gym, you know, doing artwork and things like that. With the Hangman in the reverse as well, I feel like, you know, your money house is looking just a little bit weak. So I feel that it might not allow you to go out and have like extravagant fun as much as you're used to. Okay. Now the 6th house deals with work. This is actual work, daily routine, and as well as your health. And let me just talk about this first. In your work environment, there is a figure like this. Okay. This is somebody who's very stoic, who's quite firm. And I almost want to say strict. Okay. So you're dealing with somebody in a position of high status and high authority. And this is somebody who's quite picky about who they hire, who they allow on board. And so you're dealing with somebody who might be a public figure, who might be like in a position of authority. They can be quite demanding, but I feel like they're very fair. Whatever they ask of you, they will compensate you adequately. So I feel like, you know, if your money house is being controlled by somebody like this, they might require that you work around the clock, hence not being able to go out. And if you're dealing with this person as well, I feel like they are very fair-minded, and they are, you know, generally, they can be very generous as well, but they always make the right things, decisions. So I feel that's what's happening here in your work environment. And then for others of you, you might be embodying the energy of this person, where you are in charge of people, you are training people, or you are kind of like managing people. So the Emperor is a very, very powerful presence of somebody who has who is either in a position of authority, or who is working under somebody who has a lot of skills, who has a lot of knowledge. Okay, so this is a really good person to have in your 6th house of work. As it relates to your health with the Emperor, I do feel some health related issues coming through from the paternal side of the family. You might hear news of somebody through the paternal side having, you know, some health issues, or there might be some type of a hereditary trait passed down through the father's side, paternal side of the family. You know, I do see something related to I feel like they're saying like same patterns being repeated. So same living styles being repeated, same habits being repeated. So for example, if your father is a smoker and you take up smoking, that can be, you know, same patterns, same habits being repeated. And then the same health problems go along with that as well. So just be careful about your health. The Emperor is somebody that basically is the card of Aries. It also rules the head. And so I feel like a lot of you might be, your sleeping cycles are a little bit worrisome. So I feel like a lot of headaches, a lot of readjusting, a lot of lightheadedness, dizziness, headaches overall. Okay. I do see blur vision for some of you and things related to the head, even toothache affecting or invoking headaches as well. Okay. So just be careful about that. Whatever congestion or whatever like pain you are experiencing with the head for this month, it is really important to get it checked out, because I feel like it's going to be bothersome, and it's very deeply rooted as it relates to your daily activities, daily routine. I feel like a lot of you are in either like office job or in a position where a lot of people look up to you. And so what you say and what you do, it really matters. So you might have to change your routine because of that. You know, you might have always gone to the same shop, but now you have to go to a different shop, mainly to avoid the crowd. And I do see like, on the one hand, there's a lot of like, I feel like there's a lot of energy here for stagnancy, but with this energy, I feel like you might be a public figure and you're going to have to dodge the crowd. So you have to like switch up your routine somehow and finding a smart way to do that. I do see a lot of like bulking up for men and women Cancerian watching this, lifting weights, doing a lot of like upper body building. So that looks really good. Okay. It looks very, very good for you, starting your New Year's resolution early, I guess. In terms of your seventh house, we have here the seventh house rules relationship, and relationship in work or relationships in, romance. So this is partnerships in work, partnerships in romance. We have here the Seven of Pentacles. And first of all, the people that you're socially dating, casually dating, it's going to fall in your fifth house. And the people that you are in a relationship with, either a marriage, living together, etc., it's going to fall in your seventh house here. And this is the card that represents stable relationships and partnerships. If you are in a partnership for work with another person, I feel that a lot of you are waiting on some joint financial ventures. You might have applied for loans and you're waiting to hear back from those institutions to see if you would qualify for those loans. And it's a very positive card that basically means things will start to come in for you. Okay. You might also be in a position where a lot of people are soliciting you to partner up with them romantically or even in partnership, and you're doing some reassessment. And I feel that, you have a lot of things on your plate right now when it comes to income and work. You might have to be selective and you might have to turn down some options. Okay. So it's overall, it looks good. In terms of romance, specifically, I feel that a lot of you might be in a position where, be very careful about this. And I feel like you're in a position where you're reassessing a state of your relationship. And what I mean by that is, I feel like you're involved with somebody, right, who is a little bit just, they have a lot of redeeming qualities, like they're a great person. They have a good heart. And I feel that, there's like one minor thing that you don't like about them. It might not even be minor, but let's just say, they have like 6 really, really amazing qualities that you absolutely adore. And then they have this one thing that you don't like. And for some reason, you're not looking at the whole package. You're looking and dwelling on this one thing that you don't like. So be very careful of the tendency to like, dwell on the negatives when it concerns your romantic partner, or even holding a grudge, or even like, being too critical of them and touching on this sore spot or this sensitivity that they have. So just be very, very courteous of the other person. Okay. So I feel that's what's happening in your romantic sector. And I would advise you just, I see this energy coming through a lot for Cancers. So don't dwell on the negatives. The person you're involved with, I feel like they have a lot of redeeming features. And likewise, the energy can flow both ways. You might be involved with somebody who's doing this to you as well. And so just keep, that into perspective. Okay. And it's very, very easy to nitpick for anybody. It is easy to nitpick, but it's also more meaningful to look at that person and to really like absorb all the good qualities that they have. Okay. So the 8th house deals with joint finances. The 8th house is actually really complicated in astrology because it deals with death, sex, rebirth, regeneration. For the purposes of this reading, and just because I'm looking at this to provide guidance, I'm just going to say joint finances overall. What we have here is the Lovers, and the Lovers is, it's a very, very positive card that basically means some contract being signed between people, some type of an engagement, some type of I guess coming together, like joining together in order to make money. And I feel that, both parties are on board, both parties are fair, and both parties are very similar. Like one person is like taking on one aspect of the business and the other person is taking on the other, for example. So there is a great potential here to delegate. There is great harmony as well as it relates to joint finances. I feel that a lot of you are pooling finances together with another person. And then I feel that for others of you, you're finding ways to optimally like I feel like you're planning for the future. So I feel that you're pulling your resources and you're finding out ways to either invest, what opportunities to invest in, and what is available to you so that you are able to, multiply your money. Okay, so this is a very positive card as it deals with, I want to say, like, as it deals with joint finances. The other message that that just came through here is, the Lovers is a card about options and choices as well. And when it rules your joint finances, I feel like a lot of you are making it big. So I feel like you're coming into financial abundance, and it's mainly because it's linked up with the partner. And so you're thinking long term, like, how are we going to spend this money? So I feel like a lot of you might be looking into property, like property for you and your partner, or even investment property. You might also be thinking about, taking trips together, taking the relationship to the next level, and, pulling your resources and things like that. Okay. So it's an overall very, very positive card. So the ninth house deals with higher education. It deals with long distance travel. It deals with religion and philosophies. Okay. Like the things that we really believe in. Rather than values, it deals with like things that we think about, lofty ideas and things like that. So first of all, as it relates to higher education, I do have a lot of students that watch my videos. And so let me just talk about this as a student, okay? So higher education, for those of you who are pursuing higher education, this is a very positive card that basically indicates you're going to be able to get, the good news regarding acceptance, regarding, universities and things like that wanting you on their team. So it's very positive. I do see like, the March timeframe being a really good time to get feedback and things like that, to get early acceptance even. So it looks good. And as it relates to like exams, midterms, finals, and grades and all those things, it looks very, very positive, where you're kind of like top of your class. So it looks very good. As it relates to higher education as well, if you are thinking about going back to school, either continuing a coursework or continuing to do something related to higher education, I do feel that you are in a very powerful position, not only to be a student, but to, teach as well. So if you're thinking about that, linking yourself up with an institution of learning would be very beneficial for you, because I feel like, they need your skills, they need your expertise. So getting a teaching gig is going to be very beneficial for you. Long-term, like long distance travel, I do feel that, there might be some travels talked about, and I feel like a mother figure is going to somehow either travel with you, or you are traveling to see a mother if you are living far away from your family. And so that's coming through when it comes to, long distance travel. If you have a relationship partner from a distance, I do feel there's talks about long distance travel to come see them. Be very careful about pregnancy. Okay. Both of these cards linked up together. We have a couple here with the Emperor and the Empress, and we have the Lovers linking up. So it's high pregnancy time. So I feel as well, some of you might literally be pregnant, or you might have, might be bogged down with the responsibilities of child rearing, or even, taking care of practical responsibilities within your household, that you might not be able to travel. Okay, so that's coming through for I would say the first 6 months of this year.